my name is Anne, and I'm a yoga teacher from California, United States. And I'm happy to be working with my Refuge house to share with you a little bit of a yoga sequence you can do every day. All you need is a mat. If you don't have a mat, you could always do on carpet. You could lay a towel down. If you don't have blocks, you could always use books. So we're going to start off in a seated position in Sukhasana. So in Sukhasana, you can have, oh yeah, I forgot to introduce, this is Janine, this is my demo student. In Sukhasana, you can take your shins in front of each other, so either mid-shin, or if you're too tight, you could even take your ankles in towards the groin. And just softening your gaze, closing your eyes, and just connecting to your breath. Notice with each inhale, breathe into the back ribs and lengthening the crown of the head away from the pelvis, lengthening. And with each exhale, drawing the navel up and in towards the belly. A few more breaths, just taking this moment to connect to yourself, to connect to the breath. And in yoga, we have something called Ujjayi Breath. So with Ujjayi Breath, we seal our lips. We take a smooth inhale through the nose, and we take a smooth and even exhale through the nose. Maybe in the next inhale, you can have a light constriction of the back of the throat, and then with each exhale, allowing that breath to stroke the back of the throat. Continuing with that breath. And from here, gently open the eyes. And then you're going to come onto your hands and knees into a tabletop position. In your tabletop position, make sure your shoulders are stacked over the wrist. You can have your back foot tucked or not tucked. And then we're going to take a few cat-cows. So on the inhale, you're going to dip the pelvis forward. Work your way vertebrae by vertebrae. Pull the heart or the sternum forward. Stay here, expand your collarbones apart, press down through the hands and wrap the triceps back. On the exhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis back, work your way vertebrae by vertebrae up the spine, bring your chin to your chest, push the mat away here, find some protraction, so separation of the shoulder blades. On the inhale, going back into your cow position, dropping the belly, pull the heart through, gaze lifts. Exhale, round the lower back. Find the rounding or press the mat, lift the low belly. And take a few more of these, connect to your breath. So smooth and even inhales and exhales. Everyone has different breath. And then from here, neutral spine. So just finding the natural curves of the spine here. Again, making sure your shoulders are stacked over the wrist and index fingers are pointed forward. From here, you're just going to tuck one foot back and then the other. So into a plank position. Notice how her spine is aligned here, pulling the sternum forward against the heel. Find the lift of the low belly, wrap the triceps back. And then she's going to take the knees down here, but pull the sternum forward, pull the elbow tips back halfway into a modified Chaturanga. So even with a modified Chaturanga, your spine is aligned. Pull the elbow tips back, scoop the low belly in, push back up into a modified plank, pull the hips towards the heels into a child's pose. I'll take the knees down, yeah. And then you're going to take it forward, back to your tabletop, knees stay down, shoulders go past the fingertips, so back into a modified Chaturanga. And if you want, you could take a full Chaturanga in that plank position, pull the sternum forward, pull the elbow tips back and they hug in. And then knees come down, pull the hips back into a child's pose. We'll do that one more time. Shift forward into either a plank, or you could take the knees down. You're going to take the Chaturanga, sternum pulls forward, elbow tips pull back, take it halfway, and then pull the hips up and back towards your toes. In your child's pose, make sure your shoulders are, or your hands are shoulder distance apart. Now begin to press down through the hands as if you're stamping your hands down. Find the lift of the forearms so you begin to engage your biceps and your triceps. lift the forearms, and then you're gonna tuck the toes, push hips up and back into downward facing dog. Can you walk your hands forward up here and then your feet there? In your down dog, you're gonna press down through the entire circumference of the hand. Again, finding that space in the shoulders, still finding a lift of the low belly, engaging. And then we're trying to lengthen the spine here. So I'm just gonna give her a little adjustment, have a bend in the knees, and then pull your hips back. You don't need someone to do this for you, but just giving this to her so she could feel that. And then begin to work the heels down towards the mat. From here, take the knees down, tabletop position. Take 2 more rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, drop the belly, pull the sternum forward. And then on the exhale, round it in, push the mat away again, finding the separation of the shoulder blades here. Another chance to reconnect to your breath. And then neutral spine. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. You're gonna inhale, right leg reaches up and back. And notice here if your right hip opens up, you want a neutral pelvis, so the right hip rolls down. Reach back through the right heel, and then you're gonna shift forward. You're gonna step the right foot forward, drop the left knee down, and then rise up into a low lunge. So in your low lunge, I want you to make sure, walk your foot up a little bit here, to stack your front knee over the ankle, and then feel like you're rooting down through the right heel and then releasing the right hip back. Lengthen by breathing into the back ribs, and then on the exhale, draw the navel up and in. So this is like a neutral pelvis. Take a few cycles of breath here. Again, each inhale lengthening, and then on each exhale, drawing the navel up and in, still maintaining the length of the spine. Take an inhale, look up, touch palms, and then draw it down to heart center. And then you're gonna take a twist. You're gonna hook your left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Keep the press of the hands and try to keep the thumbs into the sternum. Keep pulling the left hip back, and then finding the revolution of the right side chest and then pulling the left ribs back. Take a few more cycles of breath. One smooth inhale, and then on the exhale, take the palms down to frame your right foot. You're gonna tuck the back toes into a runner's lunge. Pull the heart sternum forward, so finding the length in the spine here. Back heel pulls back, back thigh presses towards the ceiling, and again, plugging that right hip back. Find a little bit of a back bend here, so breathe into the back ribs, finding to lift the chest, just trying to lengthen up. Take one more smooth inhale. On the exhale, palms press all the way down. Step the right foot back into a plank or a modified plank. And then you're gonna go into your Chaturanga. Shoulders go past the fingertips, elbows pull wide. Again, you could take the knees down. Take it all the way down. And then from here, make sure before you go up into a back bend, your elbows are stacked onto the wrists. Those hands are hugging towards the side body. You're gonna press down through the tops of the feet. Find that lift of the low belly, and you're gonna go into an upward facing dog or a cobra. So lifting the heart up. You can go into a cobra. So this is a cobra, nice. And if you wanna go into an upward facing dog, you begin to straighten the arms, engage the legs, press down through the tops of the feet. Continue to pull the heart forward, collarbones wide. Take one more inhale. On the exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Again, noticing if the hip opens up, try to square the hip off by rolling the left hip down, rolling the inner left thigh towards the ceiling. Shift forward, and then you're gonna step your left foot up towards the top of the mat, drop the right knee down, and then inhale up into a low lunge. Step your left foot a little bit forward. There you go. And then again, making sure your foundation. So making sure your left knee is stacked over the left wrist. Root down through the left heel and release the left hip back. Lengthen through the fingertips. Inhale. And then on the exhales, draw the navel up and in, bringing the frontal hip bone so it's lifted, neutral pelvis. A few more cycles of breath here. So each inhale, you lengthen. Keeping the length, each exhale, drawing the navel up and in. Inhale, look up, touch palms. And then we're gonna take that twist. Take the right elbow to hook outside of the left thigh for a twisted low lunge. Press the hands together. Lengthen that right side torso forward. And then again, keep plugging the left hip back and firming those outer hips in. Each inhale, again, you lengthen, and each exhale, you find a revolution. Nice, Janine. One more breath. Take a smooth inhale. On the exhale, unwind. Both palms land to frame the front foot. And then you're gonna tuck the back toes if they're not. Lift the back leg, find that lift of that right hip. Pull the sternum forward into a runner's lunge. Just lengthening the spine, so trying to lengthen, 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 crown of the head forward as you pull back through the right heel. One more breath, and then you're gonna step the foot back. Plank pose. You could drop the knees for a modified chaturanga, shoulders go past the fingertips. Chaturanga. Inhale into your back bend of choice, so either the baby cobra, cobra, or you could take the upward facing dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your feet towards your hands to the front of the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway on the inhale, lengthen forward. You could always take your hands to blocks. We'll show them how to do it with blocks. And then pull the sternum forward, press down through all four corners of the feet. Trying to have a neutral spine here, nice. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle arms, reach up, look up, maybe gaze up, and then draw your hands to heart center. Surya Namaskar A, or Sun Salutation A. Inhale, circle arms, reach up. Long spine, just hinging at the hips. Exhale, forward fold. Again, you can use the blocks, you can not use blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. So long spine. And then palms are down. You could step or you can shoot it back and flow through your vinyasa, which is exhale into chaturanga. Inhale into your choice of a back bend. And then exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 cycles of breath in your down dog. Press down through the entire circumference of the hand. Wrap your triceps down. Inhale, heels come up high. Look up to the top of the mat. Bend your knees and use the bottom of the exhale to step or hop up to the top of the mat. Halfway inhale, lengthen, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle arms, reach up, look up, touch palms, and then draw down to heart center. We're going to do this 3 more times. Inhale, circle arms, reach up. Exhale, long spine, forward fold, Uttanasana. Halfway inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, palms to the mat. Step or shoot it back, flowing through your vinyasa. Again, chaturanga. Inhale into a back bend. And then use the bottom of the exhale, pull the hips back, downward facing dog. 3 cycles of breath. Keep rooting down through the entire circumference of the hand. Finding the lift, so aligning your ears to between your biceps. And then lengthening the hips away from the wrists. Inhale, knees bend, pull the hips back, slightly step, hop, float to the top of the mat. Inhale is the Ardha, lengthen the spine, expand at the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, circle arms, reach up, look up, touch palms, and then draw down to heart center. Take 1 more on your own. Use your breath to guide you. So each movement is a breath. Smooth inhale through the nose, and smooth exhales through the nose. And you can use this to even just warm up for before a workout or every morning, just to warm up, to get into the joints. In your down dog, take 3 breaths. Inhale, right leg reaches up and back. And then you're going to draw your right knee to your chest. Draw your right ankle to the left wrist. We're going to go into a half pigeon. So you don't have to have your shin parallel to the front of the mat. So you can have it angled down. You don't have to have it parallel. Back heel is aligned to the left frontal hip bone. Walk your fingertips up to the other side body and lengthen the spine. And then use that first, and then on the exhale, you're gonna come forward over the shin, lengthening your heart forward. You can come down to your forearms. You can come down all the way down to your chest. This is a nice hip opening that we like to take. Make sure that your hips are both neutral, so both frontal hip bones are face down. And take a few breaths here. And this time you could let go of any breath control. Just allow the inhales to soften the tight areas, and allow the exhales to take them all away. One more breath, inhale, and then palms come back, walk it back up. Press down through both palms, and then tuck the back toes, and then you're gonna lift it up into a three-legged dog. So lifting the right leg, pulling it up and back, and just opening up the hip, drawing the right heel towards the buttocks, rolling it around. Square off the hips, and then set the right foot down. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Draw the left knee forward, and then you're gonna take your left ankle to the right wrist, left knee to the left wrist. Take the back knee down. Walk your hands back to your waist to find length first. And then exhale, take your chest past the shin into your half pigeon. Make sure your back knee is aligned to the back frontal hip bones. Janine was nice enough to help me, so she already went through a class before this, so she must be really tired. And then allow the chest to sink down. Again, neutral pelvis, so both frontal hip bones are facing down towards the mat. And then from here, you're just lengthening the heart, sternum forward, crown of the head melting down. Just connecting to the breath. Smooth inhales and smooth exhales. One more breath. Nice and gentle, lift your chest back up, press one palm down, then the other. Tuck the back toes, and then lift the hips up and back into a three-legged dog, so reaching that back leg back, and then opening up the hip, taking the left heel towards the buttocks, left knee towards the ceiling. Keep pressing the right palm down, lifting the right side body still, nice. And then slowly square off the hips, take the left foot down, drop down to your knees, and then find your way onto your back. You can do a little bit forward now. Yep. And once you're on your back, I'm going to pull this. Now you can see your face. Once you are on your backs, you're going to draw your knees in towards your chest. Scoot up a little forward. Sorry. There. Yeah. Draw your knees into your chest, hug it in, and then you're going to drop your knees over to the left. Keep your shoulders down, and then take your arms wide into a cactus like this, or out into a T. If you have a block, or you can use that book, you could take a block between the thighs. And then lengthen your top hip forward as you roll the back of the right ribs down. Still continuing your breath. This is a nice little twist, thoracic spine twist, and it should help any low back issues. Take one more deep inhale. On the exhale, drop back to center. Hug the knees in slightly, maybe adjusting if you need a block or not. And then you're gonna drop the knees over to the right side. Again, both shoulders are pressing down. Lengthen the top hip forward as you roll the back of the left ribs down. Maybe arms into a cactus or a T. Take a few cycles of breath here. So again, always connecting to the breath. Without breath, there would be no life. So connecting to it, connecting our mind, body, and breath. One more smooth inhale. And then on the exhale, unwind. You're going to rock up to seated. So hug your knees in, or you could just roll to the side. And then from here, you're going to extend both legs forward. And then maybe even like moving around the meat from your bum. You're going to take your right sole of the foot into the left thigh, into Sukhasana. Ground down through the sit bones. Keep the left foot flexed, toes towards the shin. And then you're going to take your hands to the frontal hip bones. Find a little bit of a lift first. And then inhale, reach your arms up. On the exhale, take the chest forward, hinging at the hips into a little forward fold. And then you don't need to touch your toes if you have a towel, or if you have a belt, or if you have straps, you can use that. And then find a lift of the chest. So trying to take the rounding, yes, just like that. Try to take the rounding. We want to decompress the thoracic spine. So lifting the chest and leading with the sternum forward. You don't need to touch your toes ever. Or maybe one day. And then slowly begin to walk the hands back. Extend both legs forward, just switching sides, left sole of the foot into the right thigh. Right foot is flexed, so toes towards the shin. Keep reaching through the right heel. You could even have a light bend in that right foot. Again, finding a lift of the frontal hip bones first. And then inhale, reach arms up. On the exhale, leading with the sternum hinging at the hips, forward fold into your Sukhasana. And continue using your breath, smooth inhales and exhales. One more smooth inhale. On the exhale, walk the fingertips back. Extend both legs forward, Paschimottanasana, so front forward fold. And again, just maybe moving the hips around, finding the sit bones. And then you're going to inhale, circle arms, reach up, finding the length in the spine, so long spine. On the exhale, frontal hip bones over the thighs, reaching forward with your sternum. Again, you can use a strap, you could use a belt, you could use a towel, you could have a light bend in the knees. I'm trying to reach the sternum further forward. So find a lift here. Yes. So notice how before she was rounding her spine, I want you to lift the chest and then forward with the chest. So a lot of times we're at our desk or we're rounding that thoracic spine. I want you to find the lift. Send the breath to the belly of the hamstrings. One more inhale, and then on the exhale, walk it back up. Set both soles of the feet down to the mat. And then walk forward a little bit, only because of the camera. There you go. And then reach the arms forward, round it in. Scoop the low belly in. And then using your core, just lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. So lumbar spine, all the way to the thoracic, to the cervical, all the way down to the crown of the head. Hug your knees into your chest one more time. Ball up into a tight ball, drawing the knees to the forehead, squeezing everything in, scrunching your face, every fiber, every cell of your body. Take a deep inhale all the way to the tips of the toes. And then on the exhale, you're going to take a Shavasana, laying down, extending the legs forward, allowing the feet to splay so they can come to the sides of the mat. You could take your hands outside, angled like a 45-degree angle out, palms towards the ceiling. And just beginning to soften your gaze or closing your eyes, releasing any breath control, softening the space between your eyebrows, unclenching the jaw, removing the tongue from the roof of the mouth, feeling your crown of the head heavy, feeling your shoulders heavy, your torso heavy, your hips melting down to the mat, your legs grounded, your ankles and feet. Finding the invitation of the grounding And then you're going to relax into your Shavasana, releasing, letting go. Allow the next inhale to deepen the breath. Beginning to deepen your inhales and exhales. Slowly bring awareness back to your body. Maybe wiggling your fingers or wiggling your toes. Maybe reaching your arms overhead for a morning stretch. Reaching through the tips of the fingers to the tips of the toes. Taking a deep breath, take it all in, sip in a little bit more air, and then open the mouth, exhale, audible, exhale, let it go. And then set the soles of the feet down to the mat. Roll over onto your favorite side into a fetal position. So bring your knees to your stomach, maybe resting your head onto your bicep. Taking a moment here to notice the effects of your practice. Just taking mental note of how your body feels, how your mind feels, how your breath, how your soul and your heart feels. Taking a moment to give yourself gratitude for showing up to the mat today and always radiating that gratitude out with you off the mat. With your eyes closed, find your way onto a seated position. Grounded down through the sit bones, rising up through the crown of the head. Finding the length of the crown of the head away from the pelvis, and then slightly pulling the heart forward. We'll take our hands to heart center, and I would like for you to join me for an Om. Smooth inhale through the nose. Thumbs to the forehead, lift your heart up, and then bow down towards your heart, honoring yourself and honoring your practice. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy that short sequence.